it's Coco Lemon, and today I'm going over how to play the new 1.11 game board event in Infinity Nikki. I'll also be explaining what everything means, like how the game board works, how to get stamps, how to claim your rewards, and I'll answer some common questions I've seen, like how to fight bosses and collect gifties. At the end, I'll also share some simple strategies and tips to help you play and support your team. So if that sounds helpful, stay tuned and let's get into it. Okay, so let's start with the game board and how everything actually works, because it can look a little bit confusing at first, but basically there are a few different types of tiles and each one does something different. Some help you earn inspiration points, while others are where you'll spend those inspiration points to help your faction take over tiles and areas. So first, area tiles are these colorful ones with the little icons on them. Now they'll represent an actual location in the Infinity Nikki map, and you'll use inspiration points here to increase your team's influence and take over these tiles. Now every hour they reset with who has the most inspiration points in them. So for example, Border Outpost has Wild Hearts has 18.4 million, while Gilded Past has 18.3. So the one with the most points is who has that tile. Again, these update every single hour, so they're constantly changing. Next up, you have these question mark tiles, and these will contain random little trigger events like quiz questions, riddles, or sometimes a little pick 3 mini lottery, and sometimes they can even take away inspiration points, so it can be a bit of a gamble, but most of the time they give you, but sometimes they can take away your inspiration points if you are unlucky like me. It's happened to me. The next kind of tile are these exclamation point tiles. Now these are where you're going to be given a task to complete in the open world, such as collect 3 insects, or I had one that said go recruit Gerota for your team. If you have something like that where you need to find someone, you can track them. Let me quickly show you how. You can go to your inspiration journal. Now these little arrows are where you can find your tasks. I don't have any yet, but they would show up right here. You can have 20 at a time. So if I had the task that asked me to go find Gerota, I could click it and track it. So that's what I had to do, because I went to Wishing Woods and it didn't work. So then I figured out you gotta track it here. Another thing that these exclamation mark tiles can give you is a world quest with a certain NPC. Now how to tell if it will give you that world quest is it will have a little book icon attached to it, and that's when you go to it to get a world quest. Now to see what world quests you have, you can go to your inspiration journal again, and it is this top one with the book. Now I have collected all the world quests, but this is where you can find them and track them as well. Lastly, we have these archway tiles. Now if you land on one of these, you will get given a little mini level you can complete in order to get usually a bigger amount of inspiration points, like around 2,000, and each one has a short objective like collecting 10 bears or purifying S-lings. They'll take a couple minutes to complete. Now if you don't want to do it immediately, you can pass up on it and do it later, and you will find it here in your inspiration journal underneath the flag, and you can click on it and start it. Now I have already done my 2 of them, but I know that there is 2 more available, and then some more will unlock in future phases. The next thing I want to cover is on the game board you will find gifties. Right now there's 2, so if I can make it all the way to this tile, I get to collect this gifty, and if I can make it all the way to this tile, then I get to collect this gifty. You don't actually find them in the open world. This time you get them on the game board, so keep that in mind. And you can see which ones that you have gotten and claim the rewards by going back to the inspiration journal. Again, this is where you pretty much find everything, and then the gifties is at the bottom. Now as you can see, they don't have a picture because you get them on the actual map, and then when you have all of them, you can collect your reward here. Now the last thing I want to cover are the boss fights or Bouldy challenges. So twice a day a Bouldy will pop up somewhere on the map. It'll be random. They'll appear on one of the tiles, and you have to rush to that tile and try to help your team purify it. Now the person who gives it the last blow, whatever team they were on, will win that Bouldy challenge. So it's not an actual place to fight it in the open world. Everything will be on this map or on this game board, and it'll be at specific times. So for me, it's 12 p.m. and 7 p.m., but that will differ depending on your server and your actual time zone. Okay, so I've seen this asked a lot, so let's talk about how to get stamps and how to collect stamps. So to get a stamp, you'll need to actually travel to the open world. Now, each area that appears on the game board is also a real location you can visit on the map. So, for example, let's just look at the tile I'm currently on. It's Brookwood Forest, and right now Wild Hearts has Brookwood Forest. So when I go to Brookwood Forest, I will see the Wild Hearts stall, and in front of that stall there will be an NPC. Now I can talk to the NPC and ask them to stamp my book. Now I will show you guys right now what that will be like and how to easily find the different areas. So right now Brookwood Forest is green, and in order to find it on the map, you'll go to your map, you'll go to Wishing Woods. Now zoom in again a bit more and you can see that this area is Brookwood Forest. So you'll go to the teleport that's by that. Okay, so now that I am here, you can see right over here a little stall with an NPC in front of it, the Wishing Woods contest promoter. Now I can talk to them and have them stamp my book. Now it'll say, could you please stamp my booklet? I've already done it here, so I won't do it again because it's already green anyways. I just want to throw in a little clip of what it looks like when I actually do get it stamped so you guys can see. So that is basically how to get that done. Now, if it were pink or if it were Gilded Pass or Peppergems, I could restamp it in order to change this location from, you know, green like it is now to purple or pink. So if you have a location on your book stamped and you want to change it to a different faction, you can just go back and restamp it. Hope that helps. Okay, so now let's talk about how to collect rewards. Now there's a few different areas you can go to get different rewards. So for example, under contest briefing, this is where you will collect your diamonds and eventually be able to get the other player's cloak as well. You also have your total group influence rewards right here. So just keep in mind that if you want all the cloaks, you have to be contributing a lot of points. So you can just claim it like this. Now just a reminder, if you have landed on an exclamation mark and been given a task and you go to do that task, you claim it by going to your inspiration journal and clicking these arrows. Now this is where you will be able to check on your tasks and claim the inspiration point rewards right here. Now this little stamp icon is where you can see what stamps you have. So Floor Wish, I only have one stamp. I haven't been getting stamps, but this is where you can complete your little stamp booklet and look at it. More things will unlock later on. So this is where you can also collect your rewards once you have collected all the stamps in a current region. Alright, we've covered a lot, but I'm just going to quickly go over a few other details about the event page and how to navigate it. So you have group info right here. You can see how much influence your group has and the current generation rate per minute. You can also check out the board in this way. So this is helpful because it shows the specific areas and what tiles contribute to that area. Now Wishing Woods has 4 tiles as a part of it. If for example green had all tiles here or purple had all tiles here, they would have a boost because they have taken over all of Wishing Woods, and then it would be highlighted green or purple. Now if a few days ago pink had all of Breezy Meadows and it was highlighted pink because pink had taken over that whole area. So you can keep that in mind when you're playing. You can also click on these and it'll highlight the specific areas, and it also tells you how many tiles are a part of it. So Stoneville has 2 tiles as a part of it. Abandoned District has 5 as a part of it. So if purple can take over this one little area, they will have control of all of Abandoned District and it will be highlighted purple. I'm rooting for you, Peppergems and Wild Hearts and Gilded Past, all the factions. Right now, no one has full control over like a whole area, but when they do, it'll be highlighted that faction's color. So that's what you can check out in this group info tab. Now, if you go to your profile, it just shows you your inspiration points. Don't look at mine. Don't look at my effect overview. Alright, if you go to contest briefing, that's where you can see what phase you're in. Right now we're in phase 1. Phase 2 will unlock next week and then the week after, so it'll be unlocked at these times. Also, you can collect your rewards here, and you can just check out how the teams are doing overall right here. Inspiration journal, we've been here. This is where you check out everything going on with your world quests, with your trial grounds, your specific tasks, your stamps, and your gifties. That's all right here. Now, achievement goal is where you go to claim the rewards to get your free outfit, and you have to do these tasks in order to get your outfit. Now, you can also go to group achievements, and these are basically the competition rewards that you can get. Your whole faction contributes to these. Okay, that's pretty much everything you need to know about how the game works and the navigation for the event pages. Now, if you're interested, you can stick around and we're just going to talk about some simple strategies and tips to think about when playing. So, first things first, I have a few simple tips to maximize effectiveness. Now, first tip is try to save your inspiration points. Actually saving them up instead of dropping them as soon as you get them can help. If you want to wait till the last 10 minutes of an hour, it can be super helpful, because in the last 10 minutes you can see what's going on and where to put your inspiration tiles for them to be most effective in either defending a tile or flipping a tile. Now, to see how many minutes are left, if you're on an area tile, you can click it and it'll show you that the square ownership updates in 58 minutes. So I am probably gonna wait to start spending my inspiration points until about an hour, well, about 50 minutes. So yeah, basically saving until the last 10 minutes of the tile flip helps, because you can see if your team is about to be able to take over a tile or defend one. Another strategy I have, if you want to do this, is to do wave spending during the last 10 minutes. Now, if you see that your team is in some type of war to take over a tile, like for example, Wild Hearts and Gilded Pasts are competing for this one right here. Now, let's say it's the last 10 minutes of the hour and it's flipping back and forth between Gilded Past on top and Wild Hearts on top. Instead of spending all of your inspiration points at once, you can spend them in 3, sections at a time. So you can basically do that like this. You can spend 1/3 when the final 10 minutes start, and then another half a few minutes later, and then save the rest of it for the very last minute. That's basically how you can flip a tile within the last 10 minutes. Another strategy is saving up for bigger plays. You can also save inspiration points over a few days if you want to make a bigger impact, and then plan to help your team take over small areas. Like Stoneville, for example, only has these 2 areas. So if you were to save for a couple days, you could try to take over Stoneville. Another big strategy tip is focusing on area control instead of just tiles. So for that, let's go here and look at the map like this. As you can see, it's separated into these 5 areas. Now, a good way to go about doing this is having a focus on an area and try to get 2 tiles in that area to upkeep and defend, while also slowly trying to take over the other 2. So this could apply to both Peppergems and Wild Hearts. They're kind of battling out for Wishing Woods. So once you have a good control over these 2, you can start putting your points into these 2 to try to take control over the area, if that makes any sense. Last tip is, if an area is taken over completely by a faction that's not your team, you can try to break it up. Like for example, actually Abandoned District is a good example of this. It would be taken over by purple, and they would have the boost for this area if green didn't have this spot. So green is breaking up their access to taking over this full area. So if you see that an area is completely taken over, dump your points into a tile that your team has the most to try to break up their control over that area, if that makes any sense. I hope that helps. My last tip is, if you are able to, you can communicate with your teams, not in game unfortunately, but through there's discords and Reddit groups that are talking, and you can try to see what's going on and what your team wants to plan. So communicating in those channels might help figure out some cohesiveness with your group. Okay, so that covers everything you need to know about the game board event and how to navigate through the pages. I hope you found it helpful, and if you did, definitely like the video and subscribe, and have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye!